Take a few minutes to review the process of writing an argument paper. Broad steps to argument writing, which can each be broken down into smaller, more manageable steps. The first thing you need to do is research. Then from your research, you create a position statement. And finally, from your position statement, you write your argument. Researching a controversial topic, you want to make sure that you research both sides of the issue. You don't want to focus too heavily on your side because you want to be able to defend yourself from the other perspective. And the only way to do that is to understand the other perspective. So make sure that you look up both sides of the issue and can articulate both sides clearly. Writing a position statement is just a fancy way of saying you're going to write your thesis, which is your opinion on the issue. So first you need to make sure that you identify a specific topic, demonstrate your knowledge of the topic, and state your opinion. In your position statement, you need to make sure that your opinion is stated clearly and directly, it's able to be supported by facts and interpretations, and it answers the prompt. So the first three bullets that we're looking at are things that go into the position statement. Anytime you see a position statement, you should be able to break it down into these three things: the topic, knowledge, and the opinion. The last three are more ways to write your statement. You want to make sure that you use clear and direct words, make sure that it's phrased in a way that it can be supported by interpretations and facts, and make sure it answers the prompt that you're given. You can answer the prompt by using words directly from the prompt and rephrasing them into your answer. Take a look at some examples of position statements. The first example says, despite the reluctance of politicians and oil companies to recognize the facts, the evidence for global warming is everywhere. The topic here is global warming. The author demonstrated that they have knowledge of the topic by stating, despite the reluctance of politicians and oil companies to recognize the facts. Finally, they stated their opinion. The evidence for global warming is everywhere. Let's look at another one. In wartime, news agencies are sometimes accused of compromising national security, but the United States is more secure due to its freedom of the press. So here, our topic would be freedom of the press. The author shows their knowledge of the topic by discussing wartime and the background of news agencies being accused of compromising national security. Their opinion is that the United States is more secure. Last one. Recording companies need to understand that they cannot regulate file sharing technology the way they regulate the sale of physical objects such as tapes and CDs. In this case, the topic is the regulation of file sharing technology, while the background information is the regulation of physical objects, such as tapes and CDs. And the opinion is that record companies can't create those regulations. Get into how you actually create your argument. A good argument essay has 4 paragraphs. Your first paragraph is your introduction, where you provide background information on your topic. Paragraph 2 is your analysis, where you really dig into both sides of the issue. Paragraph 3 is the evaluation. Here's where you evaluate the topic from your opinion, from your point of view, and state your opinion. And finally, paragraph 4 is expansion. Note that this is not called the conclusion. This is not a place for you to summarize what you've already said, but instead it's a place for you to move on and explain how the topic connects to the real world and make some suggestions for where your audience should go from here. So the first paragraph is your background paragraph, also known as the introduction. For this paragraph, you want to start with a powerful quote, a question, or a personal statement. Pretty much anything that you have used as a hook for an essay in the past, you can use as a hook for this essay. Your paragraph should end with your position statement. Your position statement, like your thesis, is always the last sentence of the introduction paragraph. This paragraph is where you define your issue. So you want to show your audience that you really understand it and help them to understand it as well. By doing so, you're going to create ethos, which is your credibility as an author. You want your audience to understand that you are somebody who is knowledgeable about this topic and that they should listen to you. Paragraph is your analysis of the issue. This is where you're going to interpret and analyze the facts that you have researched. Make sure that you present both sides of the argument. This paragraph should not contain bias of any kind. Save that until your next paragraph where you're going to express your opinion. For this paragraph, you want to consider using logos, which is logic. Any facts or statistics that you found in your research would be great things to include in this paragraph. Don't forget to cite your sources. Anytime you're pulling something from your research or somewhere that did not come from your brain, make sure that you cite it. Paragraph is the evaluation. This is where you get the chance to present your opinion to your audience. Make sure that you're continuing to cite your sources. Use the information from your research to demonstrate why your opinion is the correct opinion. In this paragraph, it would be smart to consider using pathos, which is an emotional response. Humans tend to be swayed by emotional arguments, so this is a great place to pull in if there's any sort of heartstrings to tug with this issue. This is a great place to pull those in. The final paragraph is the expansion, and again, we want to reiterate here that this is expansion. It's not the conclusion where you bring everything together. This is where you apply your issue to your audience's life and really show them how they can take this and run with it. So you want to make connections to things like popular culture or literature, anything that your issue can relate to. That's what you want to do in this paragraph. And try and make at least 2 connections. This paragraph should be structured with a restating of your position first, which should only be 1 sentence. Then moving on and making those real-world connections. So those are your pop culture, literature, politics, your life connections. That part should be the longest part of the paragraph. Finally, you're considering the future and asking your audience to look ahead. How can they take what they have learned in your essay and move forward and apply it to something that they believe? Now you are ready to write an argument essay. Be sure to take these skills that you learned and apply them anytime you're asked to write an argument.